Well, today was the day I decided to move my #2 chicken coop. It used to reside on the outside right here, but as you can see, we're in the process now of moving it in. And it's 8 foot by 6 foot, and surprisingly enough, it takes up a good bit of space in here in the chicken yard. And so one of the things that I'm going to have to sacrifice is my Chandler walnut that I had planted here. And so I've already started hacking away at it to kind of open this up. But it's no harm, no foul, because I actually planted that tree, and it was a mistake in selecting a tree that's going to grow to the size that this tree is going to grow in this yard. So it's just going to actually benefit everything else that I have in here. I'm going to take this thing completely out, and we'll get all 3 of our coops moved in here. And one of the reasons why I'm motivated to do this is because I want to set it up to be a little bit more autonomous. So I'm doing what I can now to move it in here. I'm going to be putting in automatic door openers for these chicken coops, and then I'm going to also automate the water systems. So this is just the first stage in that process, and yeah, I'm going to bring you along and show you kind of what we're doing here. All I really need to do, I think, is move this over about another 6 inches and we'll be good. 6, maybe 8 inches, something like that. Get it squared up, and I think we'll be almost good. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why he likes it so much, but he keeps coming back. Hey, dude. Keeps coming back. He likes this spot. Sunflower seeds are part of what I do every morning. I put seeds on top of these piles, and then I come through with a pitchfork and fold them in, and then that really helps to encourage the chickens to be focused on these piles. This is the newest of the piles that I've been adding to, and it's a lot deeper than it looks, but there's a lot of heat down in this one. Just a combination of livestock bedding, leaves, and lawn clippings. Right around 132, 133. They're ready to go to work. What is that? Looks like they like the chicken. I've been taking about a wheelbarrow load each morning so I can top dress out in the orchard. Again, I need to make some room so that I can start moving some of these piles this direction. But the chickens are all out and engaged in their morning's activities. One of the things that I've been working on this morning is just making sure all of these milk crates are turned over so that the chickens won't be able to get inside of them. One of the problems that we've had recently is that a number of these hens like to get into these boxes and lay eggs, and so it's like an Easter egg hunt out here every day figuring out which box they've decided to lay in. So I'm flipping those over, hopefully to discourage them from doing that, and it'll be a little easier to find their eggs if in fact they decide that they want to lay outside of the nesting boxes that we've provided them. Another load of livestock bedding and comfrey. It's always quite the hit. It's been about 3 weeks since I started this project here in the chicken yard, and I'm going to show you the progress thus far of the different systems that I've automated. I'll try to include links to some of the things that I purchased. There's about 7 feet in between this coop and the one that's over there. And the benefit of having now moved this in here is that I can automate their door openings. And so this is what I've decided to go with. These were extremely easy to not only install, but just to program. It's very intuitive. You really don't even have to read the directions in order to set this thing up. It runs on 4 AA batteries. This coop, again, was very easy to install. I installed it in maybe 20 minutes of taking it out of the box, cutting a hole, and 6 screws just to attach it here. But you can manually open and close. You can obviously program it. It's got a deal where if the chickens were to be underneath that, it would sense that and then it would retract. I've got it currently programmed to let the chickens out at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then at night they go in and it shuts at 8:30 p.m. So I've got one here. This one was a little bit more work that I had to do because essentially you can see that I took 2 pieces of plywood and sandwiched them in here so I would have something to nail it to, but essentially this is what I did for this hoop coop. What I will wind up doing, if in fact we leave for the weekend or any length of time beyond that, I can take a piece of cattle panel and put it in between these 2 coops, which will allow the chickens access to this breezeway in between. Now, therefore just kind of giving them more space and room to navigate between which of these coops that they want to go in. I've also automated the water system, and so the water's hooked up to a hose bib here, and we got fresh water coming over into this 5-gallon bucket, and it's hooked and attached to a float. And then I've got 2 lines coming out, one going to this coop and then one going to the other coop, and it's just gravity feed into these cups that are really kind of a super simple design, but it's going to be a lot better. Not only is it going to automatically refill, the water will be a lot fresher than the system that we had been using. The system that we had been using water was getting pretty disgusting and gross before they were able to drink it all. And so here's the other line going into the other coop. I decided to put that 5-gallon bucket in this little stanchion that I had kind of laying around, and it's perfect for that because it's going to keep it out of the sun, thereby kind of slowing down the UV exposure and degradation of that 5-gallon bucket. And so currently I've got it hooked up. There's no leaks. Everything's working good. These hoses were just some cheap utility garden hoses or utility hoses that were like 15 feet long, and I cut them to length and put a male end on the ends where they're screwed in over here. And then I've got cattle panel, which keeps the chickens from interacting or getting up against those lines. I also put cattle panel down in this breezeway area. It just kind of limits the dust bathing and the excavation that the chickens constantly do when they're out in the yard. And so as we go in, you can see there's another group of watering cups back here. And then today what I'm going to be working on is I'm going to be putting in a feeder that'll be here that'll be completely automated. And I'll show you in just a second the feeder that's over there right now that is currently automated. It's an integrated system that I had to do a little bit of fabrication to get right. I've got another one that I haven't taken out of the box yet. Wanted to buy this one, make sure it works. And I'll show you in another video a little bit more detailed version of what this is. But right now it seems to be working quite well for how I've got it set up. I still need to do some finessing with the timing of the feedings and the duration of the feedings, but it's an integrated all-in-one deer feeder. This is the system that we were using to water the chickens. It's just a 5-gallon galvanized water from Harris Farms, and they worked for a time. But the problem that we had with them is that the water would get pretty nasty prior to the chickens actually finishing the water, so it would get kind of gross. And then they'd get up on top of there and they'd crap all on the top and all in the water. So it was just less of a sanitary option. However, we are going to be hanging on to these because that system that I've got set up over here could potentially freeze. And then if that's the case, I'll shut that down, drain it, and then we'll go back with these in the wintertime. To this point, I really just need to kind of monitor the systems that are in place to make sure that the chickens' needs are being met. But the beautiful part about it is those needs are more than likely being met before I even enter the yard. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.